right, we got some news involving the Los Angeles Rams, obviously preparing for an absolutely massive Thursday night football showdown against the New Orleans Saints. Of course, this is going to involve the injuries and who's available for the Rams. Good news is it's a lot of people coming back into the fold. Let's go ahead and go right into the report. This is from Rams Wire. The Rams have minimal injury concerns with only Trey Tomlinson being rolled out. Joe Notaboom is questionable, but here's the important one. Rob Havenstein is good to go, so he'll take back his starting spot at right tackle after a 1 week absence. Keller Witherspoon, Tutu Atwell, and Ronnie Rivers are all ready to go this week as well. All right, so I think the Havenstein news, I think it's the most important thing going into this absolutely massive game against the New Orleans Saints, because the Saints, the clear strength of their defense is on the edge with Jordan and Granderson. They love to generate negative plays. They're all about getting after the quarterback. That's how their entire defense under head coach Dennis Allen loves to execute. Giving your starting veteran right tackle back will be huge for Matt Stafford, Kyron Williams, and frankly, this entire offense. So that's great news. And this is essentially a must-win games for the Rams. Aaron Schatz actually reported this. He said the playoff odds for the Rams, if they win, 67%. If they lose against the New Orleans Saints, 7.5%, right? So if they win the game, they're basically 2-1 favorite to get in the playoffs. If they lose, they need a miracle to get in. This is a must-win game for the Rams, and the fact they're getting some guys back at the key positions, I think gives them the advantage they need, the boost they need to make sure they secure this W. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are involving the Rams, of course, this big Thursday night football matchup. But first off, Rams fans, look, what are your predictions for this game? Look, short rest, short time, must-win game, looking at all the stats right here, basically before it's all said and done. Give us your prediction, final score, New Orleans versus LA, in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this announcement for the Rams and just everything going on with this football team as it gets ready for just a massive matchup.
Yeah, Nick, this is huge for playoff implications. Everyone's going to be watching this game. Finally, we have a Thursday night game that means something. It's going to be a little more interesting to watch. But like you said, the Rams obviously haven't seen probably the big one. But I want to go over the last three as well, because I think all of those are very key additions as well. They might have just been banged up, but everybody was a full participant out of the last three guys from Tuesday to Wednesday as well. So I think that is big news for them because one, Akella Witherspoon, I'd say their best corner on this team, the highest graded corner per PFF in that regard as well, is going to be big because Chris Olave for the Saints, he is coming back to play, so that could be a big one. The Saints have a lot of weapons around the ball. Olave probably being the most dangerous receiver for them. You'll want to have Witherspoon back for that matchup. Tutu Atwell, explosive player. The offense, when he is out there, is very interesting. I think having Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp is amazing. But if you got a guy like Tutu Atwell out there as well, the really, really good third option for the big-time explosive plays. And finally, you get to Ronnie Rivers. We've seen the NFL nowadays. We saw Baltimore last week. We saw teams all throughout the season. Running backs are dropping like flies. So it's always good to have another guy in the fold, especially a guy like Ronnie Rivers as well. So I think these three guys are going to add a lot of strength to this Rams team going up against the Saints. I think this is a big one. It's going to be a really fun game to watch, Nick.
100% agree. And I'm just going through where the Rams situation is right now, playoff wise. Look, they have the Saints, of course, and they go to the Giants. Should be a win, but the Giants have been kind of froggy a little bit in the last part of the season. And then they go to San Francisco. It looks like San Francisco most likely will still be trying to play for the number one overall seed. So if you look at the Rams situation, they have to at least get to 9-8. I think they beat the Giants. San Francisco is going to be tough, especially in San Francisco. So you look at this from this perspective, those two games, they split those two. Sets up the New Orleans Saints. They have to win this game. 8-9, you don't make the playoffs. 9-8, you definitely do get in, especially when you look at some of their competition. You look at the Seattle Seahawks, they beat the only advantage of. They have the Atlanta Falcons potentially hanging around. They have the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, of course, beat the Rams where the Rams were shorthanded. So if the Packers win out and the Rams lose 2 of 3, the Packers would have the advantage over the Rams. So the Rams are in a strong position right now as it all shakes out. They just got to make sure that they win 2 of their next 3 games because they're one team that I think is the wild card in the NFC is the Seattle Seahawks because they have the Titans, very winnable rookie quarterback. They play the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. That's probably going to be a win because the Steelers are a travesty. Then they have the Cardinals at home, which the Cardinals have been frosty, but the Seahawks could win that one. So the Seahawks right now are staring at 10-7. I think they probably win 2 of the next 3. I think the Seahawks probably finish 9-8. That means the Rams have to finish 9-8 because they own the tiebreaker advantage. It speaks to how big this Thursday night matchup is, and that's why it's such a great sign that they're getting healthy. They're getting their guys back, especially on a short week. This is going to be a massive game in Los Angeles. I'm excited to see what Stafford and Sean McVay come up with. I think this is sort of the Rams' last stand for the season, and I think they'll make a big statement against the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, Nick, and just going over a couple more things before we end this one. I think this Rams team, the offense has been on fire when it has been going good. I think that's the strength of this team by far, but we all know there's a lot of good pieces around the defensive side of the ball. Talked about Witherspoon, Donald, Kobe Turner, the young guys coming out and being really strong. I think that this Saints defense is going to be the thing to watch because we know they can put up points. Like you said, going down the stretch, this is a very tough stretch for the Rams as far as being able to get into the playoffs. You got to beat the Saints, so the defense is going to have to show up there. Giants, you probably win that one. Can't sleepwalk through it. And in the 49ers, that is going to be a tough one as well. I think if the Rams defense can start to show up to play, which we have done a couple of film reviews on some of the nice players around this defense, I think this will be a big one for the Rams, and I'd really like to see their defense kind of step up and show that they can play at the next level, especially if they want to get into the playoffs.
Miles, real quick, I want to put you on the spot right here. I think this is a 24-17 Rams victory. Give me your thoughts right now. Tomorrow night, what's the final score?
I think that the Rams, I think the defense, they are going to show up like we said. I'm feeling somewhere in that same vein, like 10, 28-10, somewhere like that. I think it's going to be a dominating Rams victory. I think the defense is really going to show up because come playoffs, they're going to have to be there and be good.